Happy WrestleMania weekend, everyone. It's Kevin, and as a kid, I remember spending a lot of time at the arcades. Whether it was at a mall or at movie theaters, I always had to make a stop in, much to my parents' chagrin. Does anyone remember arcades? Not ticket farms like Dave & Buster's, Chuck E. Cheese, or Palladium. Actual arcades where you had to use quarters to play the games. Where the games were kinda loud, flashy, and slightly unfair. Most people lined up for Street Fighter 2 or Mortal Kombat 2, but this was one I remember playing a lot along with Cruisin' USA. WWF WrestleMania, the arcade game. Yeah, back when they were WWF, not this WWE thing. This game has always stood out for me because wrestling was popular with kids my age, and this game was not the crappy NES or boring SNES games that I was used to at the time. It was like a crazy concoction. Mortal Kombat meets NBA Jam meets Bret Hart and company. I always wondered who thought of the idea. I mean, think about the pitch. They're probably like, yeah, let's add the Undertaker shooting lightning at people. Because that is exactly what happens in this game. While today's video is on the PS1 version, as that is the one I owned, I will touch on the arcade version a bit, because that is where this game really made its impression on me. Let's get ready to rumble. WWF WrestleMania, the arcade game, was released in 1995. It was developed by Midway, the same team behind Mortal Kombat, NBA Jam, and eventually NFL Blitz. And if you ever played any of those games, you immediately recognize this DNA. They were all over the top. This game included huge sprites, digitized wrestlers, and exaggerated animations. It also included ridiculous special moves. I mean, this is not a simulation. This is a pure arcade experience. Instead of realistic grappling, you end up getting things like Undertaker shooting ghosts at people, Yokozuna literally sitting on people from orbit, and Doink attacking people with cartoon weapons. Going back to this is almost surreal. Since then, we've pretty much only seen the 2K games in recent times. And honestly, this might be why this game is still remembered today. When I first saw this in the arcade, it immediately caught my attention. It had that classic Midway flair. You know, the bright colors, huge characters, and fast gameplay. The game also had amazing sound, which always seemed to be louder than the surrounding machines. It was definitely an attention grabber. You could walk past the row of machines and instantly know what it is, just like NBA Jam. It was actually tough to play though, because I've always sucked at fighting games. But it was a spectacle at the time, and I would always try my best. This game had that perfect arcade formula at the time. You didn't even need to know about wrestling, or even the characters. You just wanted to partake in this chaotic fun that this game provides. As mentioned, I suck at fighting games, so I have to provide a disclaimer. You'll see some pretty bad gameplay along with some gameplay from the YouTube Creative Comments. Thank you guys. Back to the topic at hand. If you remember these times, you know that wrestling games were pretty bad back then, as this is the time period that predates games like SmackDown or No Mercy. And that's what gave this game the special sauce. It was just so out of this world, man. If you go into this expecting a traditional wrestling game, you're going to be very confused. As mentioned before, this is more like a fighting game. You have that basic structure that Mortal Kombat uses. You have low and high punches and kicks, special attacks, and the addition of grappling, because it is still related to wrestling. Oh yeah, and you can do combos. Yeah, combos in a wrestling game. Characters can juggle opponents across the ring like it's Mortal Kombat. You can even input special move commands similar to fighting games. You know, like forward punch, down up kick, that kind of thing. Matches are fast, chaotic, and sometimes completely ridiculous. I mean, you could do things like throw opponents across the ring or bounce them off ropes repeatedly. You could spam your specials, and you could win in under 2 minutes. The roster in this game was pre-Attitude Era, and it was compressed. But it was still very memorable. It included characters like Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, and Bret Hart. Basically, it was a mid-90s time capsule. I can't really think of any omissions that would have mattered at the time. Doink was an odd choice, I guess, but he kind of fit the game style. Maybe they could have included the Bulldog or Jeff Jarrett. Maybe they would have fit the game. I guess Bulldog could have turned into a dog, or Jeff Jarrett would smash you with a guitar. I don't know. But because of the digitized graphics, all of the characters maintain their iconic images and still look pretty recognizable today. Even if some of the proportions look slightly inflated. If you play NBA Jam, you'll know exactly what I mean by that. When it comes to the graphics, this game bleeds 90s styling. It has the huge sprites with a lot of bright colors, as I mentioned before. It stayed faithful and contained an arcade-style UI. And like many games from the 90s, it had over-the-top animations. They were looking to impress kids with a very similar visual style to Mortal Kombat. Digitized wrestlers gave it that gritty arcade feel, and somehow it holds up really well in comparison to other digitized games at the time. And the exaggerated effects make every hit feel impactful and powerful. It's not realistic, of course, but they were going for larger than life, just like the source material at the time. The sound design feels very arcadey. It has that distinct Midway style. I remember it being incredibly loud in the arcade as well. The PlayStation version maintains that loud impact. It also has the arcade announcer energy fueled by Vince McMahon and Jerry the King Lawler on commentary. Naturally, this resulted in a sense of over-the-top voice clips, but I love it. The music was kind of a non-factor, but it did fit the tone. The character entrance themes that play when they win were pretty good, I guess, but honestly, the sound effects stand out more. Every move sounds like it hurts, and it really sounded like Yokozuna was flying across the screen like a missile at you, which is still one of the funniest things in the game. For this review, I played the PlayStation version, and overall, it's a very solid port. The pros are that it's very close to the arcade gameplay. It retains that fast and chaotic pace, and being a CD-based system, the sound and graphics were still very good. It not only brought the game home to us, but multiplayer as well. Now there are some cons. I really found the load times to be very long on this one, and the game itself was not quite as smooth as on the arcade hardware, but that's to be expected. But overall, it was a very playable version if you didn't grow up with the arcade. For most of us though, we still got something close to the core experience at home. This is one of those games that are easy to jump into, but it is hard to master. Matches are quick, the controls are simple as you would like it to be. I say that because you could pull off some insane things if you learn the commands and mechanics of the game. You could even do a fatality with the Undertaker. I can't though. I'm pretty bad at this, as I mentioned earlier. So to summarize, this version is perfect for short play sessions, quick nostalgia hits, and showing friends how weird the 90s arcade games could be. Unfortunately, it doesn't have a deep long-term progression, as there are only 2 modes to play, but that was never the point. Arcade games were designed to be replayable in short bursts with friends. Or strangers, I guess. And this one delivers on that front. This game is not a realistic wrestling game. It is barely even a wrestling game, as I said, but it is a very fun arcade game. It takes the bigger-than-life spectacle of wrestling and mixes it with Midway arcade design, and the result is something memorable. It may not be the most technically deep game, but is definitely one of the most unique wrestling games ever made. Sometimes games don't need to make sense, you know. They just need to be fun. And this game definitely understood the task at hand. The only thing I've seen come close to this style of game was the underrated WWE All-Stars from 2011. They really need to make a sequel to this. I will buy it. Now I have a question for you. Did you ever play this in the arcade? And do you prefer realistic wrestling games or completely over-the-top ones like this? Because this game may not follow the rules of wrestling, but it definitely pinned down a spot in arcade history. And that's a wrap. It is time to reboot. I will see you on the other side.